is a podcast that we are recording. Welcome to this podcast, where we review films that should not be seen by man. Hi. I am eternal. The eternal is me, and the movie just keeps on going. And I do not know how long I can take this anymore. This is a black hole. A black hole of experience. A black hole of the senses. This is the film that should not be seen. This is the film that we saw. This is the film that saw us. And it will never let us go again. This is the Treasure Planet.
When I look out my window, many sights to see. When I look in my window, so many different people to be, that it's strange, so strange. You got to pick up every stitch. You got to pick up every stitch. You got to pick up every stitch. Must be the season of the witch. Must be the season of the witch. Oh, must be the season of the witch.
Tell me what I just watched, Madhog.
I was hoping you could tell me what I just watched, if I'm being honest.
Okay, you cannot do this to me because you recommended the movie, you sent it to me, and I watched it, and boom, I am confused.
Oh, you're confused.
I
You're
am
confused.
bewildered.
You are bewildered. Well, good for you for being
am-
bewildered.
I am flabbergasted, bamboozled by this movie.
Yes, I am also all of those fancy adjectives. And to make matters worse, I'm also discombobulated,
Oh god.
aggravated, confounded, and lost.
Please do not tell me this was actually officially sold.
This was released theatrically.
This was released theatrically?
This was released theatrically.
Ah! Oh no!
This is a film. This is a thing that I don't even know what to say. I don't even know how to start this review. Really, all I had was that creepy introduction that makes no sense out of context, and then I am done.
Yeah, because oh boy, because that's the very first thing you hear. Well, before you see the movie properly.
Oh, what a great way to start, too. Not understanding a single thing you're saying because you have to whisper it. Great voiceover.
To be honest, I could barely hear him, the guy who's voice acting the character, which we will come to know the name of soon in this movie.
Okay, this film. Okay, I guess we should provide some background.
Please provide background and context because I had no time to research this movie.
Oh, well, listen. We could have just started this talking about the film straight away, not even addressing who made it and when it was made and why it exists in the first place. The last question of which is still unanswered. But you know what? Actually finding information about this film and who's responsible for this was surprisingly easy, all things considered.
Well, that's good.
So, The Treasure Planet, based off the novel by Robert Louis Stevenson, is a Bulgarian science fiction animated feature, once again released theatrically in 1982. Directed by Rumen Petkov, who, surprisingly, actually had a very rich and prolific career in the animation industry. He started off as a figure of importance in the Bulgarian scene. He was also a comic artist. He created a comic series titled Choco the Stork and Boko the Frog. Right. He was one of the most influential figures in Bulgaria when it comes to his craft.
So, have you experienced any of his other work then, or seen it?
Well, here's the funny part about that, because it turns out that we've all universally experienced his works in one way or the other. Mr. Rumen Petkov worked on a series of animations and animated series such as Flash Beagle, as in
Eagle.
It's Flash Beagle Charlie Brown, 1984.
Oh, right.
He was an additional animator. Happy New Year Charlie Brown, 1986, as a proper animator. Snoopy the Musical, 1988. Why
Right.
Charlie Brown, Why, 1990. You're in the Super Bowl, Charlie Brown, 1994. It was my best birthday ever, Charlie Brown, from 1997. Basically, all the Peanuts specials.
So he
worked
did
on
all the
those
Peanut specials.
since Flash Beagle, that is. Oh, and in the year 2000, we had Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, where he was a sheet timer.
I know that movie exists.
This is the cake right here. He was an animator and timing director for Tom and Jerry Blast Off to Mars 2005.
Oh, I've seen that.
And he was the animation director for Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie from 2017.
What?
Yes, Rumen Petkov. The guy responsible for The Treasure Planet, which is the film we just watched, outstandingly, amazingly, against all odds, went on to have one of the most prolific careers that a Bulgarian animator could realistically have.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
This is
but wait, there's more. Here are
There's
the
more?
animated series, the animated television series he worked on. Garfield and Friends from 1991 to 1992.
right.
Ah! Real Monsters from 1994 to 1997. Dexter's Laboratory, 1996 to 2003. Duckman, 1994 through 1997. Johnny Bravo, 1997 to 2004. Cow and Chicken, 97 to 99. I Am Weasel, 97 to 2000. The Powerpuff Girls, 98 to 2005. Mike, Lou and Og, 99 to 2000. And the new Woody Woodpecker Show, 1999 to 2002.
How?
I don't have the answers
He's,
for that.
he is this guy. I mean, did we just watch like his very first attempt at a movie? Is that what this is? And then he
probably
just
was
improved
the very
from there?
first attempt for many people who worked on that. So if we have to take a positive note out of this experience is that he became a much better animator afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is like equal to, you know, I can see the government now basically treating this movie like as if like they're the parents putting their child's first attempt of a drawing onto the fridge, but the fridge is like the theatrical movie theater.
Okay?
So you this analogy was going somewhere.
I have plenty of incredulous analogies off the top of my head to describe this film because it's otherwise a fairly indescribable experience all through and through.
Yes.
Sometimes, in the course of a man's life, it might happen if, for barely a moment, to come across such an experience, such a profoundly extraneous, alienating experience, something that goes against everything you thought you knew about reality and the world you inhabit. Something that it is so against everything you stand for as a living being made of carbon that it feels wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong in pretty much every single area. This film, this animated feature, feels like that experience. It feels like I am trapped in a novel by Douglas Adams while I am smoking LSD, which is not supposed to be smoken, but you're smoking it anyway, you're doing it wrong. And doing it wrong is the leitmotif about this film, because every single element about it is wrong. The story, the animation, the characters, the backgrounds, the foregrounds, the editing, the music, the sound effects, the voice work, the models, the in-betweens, everything, every single thing is so antithetic to
everything that ever existed?
Yes, to the way we experience art, the way we experience cinema, what they teach us about cinema, I would like to add, that I almost respect it as an anti-artistic statement, a postmodern anti-artistic statement about cinema. It's a masterpiece. As a film to watch, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Oh, my head.
Yeah. Oh boy, this film.
This film. Oh, why? Oh, I thought it was such a good idea to watch this film. I wish I would not have watched it alone. This could not. This.
Well,
as soon as it started, within the first minute, I was questioning my entire life choices. I was mouth agape, shocked beyond belief at what I was witnessing. Not even Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical adventure, had me so confounded as this film did. It seems like I am abusing the English language and indulging in too many hyperboles, but there is no proper way to convey to you, people listening to this podcast, just how bizarre this venture was.
Yes, incredibly was. Oh boy.
And I guess we're going to try and
recount our experience.
Yes, we are going to try and recount our experience point by point, or at least try to do so, because I've only watched this film a few hours ago, and already there is a unfocused blur effect where my memory of this film is supposed to be. Much like there are several blur effects where objects in the film are supposed to show up.
Oh, yes.
Yikes. Yikes indeed. Yikes on motorbikes. In space.
So yeah, so starting this movie off, right?
Oh, by the way, in
Yes.
case we didn't make it abundantly obvious, this is not the Disney's Treasure Planet.
I was actually planning on saying as a joke that Disney's Treasure Planet looks very different compared to when
Yes,
I last saw
isn't
it.
it so weird that there was a Treasure Planet before Disney made one? It's
Yes.
such a bizarre notion, and they're both pretty much based off the same source material. They are wacky adaptations of Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island novel.
Yeah, I think I'd watch the Disney version and appreciate that one a lot more.
You know what? We might just review that next time to cleanse our palate.
Well, I still remember it, so I don't really need to rewatch it.
Well, I needed to rewatch it because it's been several decades
Yeah.
since I watched it. Decades? What am I saying? It's not that old.
Right.
Right.
Yet.
Okay. Right. So, oh god, I'm going to die. I'm dead. There.
No, we're not.
Oh no,
dying.
this film has given me the black spot. I'm dead. The black spot. I cannot. How do I even begin this? Okay, so have you watched Disney's Black Hole?
I'm trying to remember what Disney's Black Hole was,
You know,
actually.
that ending sequence when they all enter the black hole and it's trippy and psychedelic and completely out there? I'm saying this because the very beginning of this film made me instantly think of Disney's Black Hole.
Not even 1 second passes, and you're already questioning if you're high.
The weird choice of soundtrack, which I guess it's meant to sound alien and weird, does not help in that regard.
The visuals don't help either.
The visuals is a generous way of putting them, because what am I even looking at? What is this abomination by which my eyes are drawn towards? Can you help me describe what is it that I am looking at the very beginning? Because I know I hear a whispering voiceover
that's trying to explain what the premise of the film is, but it is so quiet, and all the echoing effect does not help in allowing me to understand what's being said. So it's already a bad way to start. Thank you for that.
Yeah, seriously, the movie actually starts with strange visuals and a guy whispering into your
ears.
Ears. That's if you're wearing headphones, but still.
There is this annoying echo chamber effect, which does not allow me to really grasp or glean anything from what's been said. Something about being lost in space and recounting the past events that led him to the position he's in right now. But other than that, I didn't get much about it.
No,
and
I didn't
it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all if during that entire monologue he actually introduced what the theme of the film was, as opposed to when I actually found out what the theme was right at the end. More on that later.
Yeah, because, like I said, the beginning, I could not hear him much because of how bad his sound audio quality was.
Okay, but that is the sound quality. That is in regards to the sound quality. But what exactly is being shown to us?
Oh my gosh, it's like...
Let's see, there is a still image of
the character who's talking at one point.
Yes,
There's
frozen in time and space, apparently, I guess.
There's a lot of effects going on.
Yes, a lot of practical effects. I guess somebody was really messing up with the multiplane camera that they had, which I had to assume was either a very sloppy, half-broken multiplane camera, or they did not know how to use it, and considering some of the more glaring animation errors I've seen later on, I'm leaning towards the latter option.
Oh boy. And it's like all I remember from the intro of this movie is just the visual madness on show that basically hinted to me what these people were on while making this entire film. Because at one point, I swear that the visuals changed into mushrooms.
I did not notice the mushrooms, but then again, my attention was pulled apart constantly during that introduction. So
there was also a cat lion thing that opened its mouth to reveal something else.
Okay, so this film is starting off by putting its best foot forward, obviously.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Indeed. I like that noise you just made. You sounded like a hurt kitten.
I have no idea what I made, but still. The whole beginning bit might as well be considered a pointless endeavor because the movie doesn't truly start until after the mess.
Yes, because like I said, this is supposed to be a recount of past events, which means that when the film properly starts, then we have the main character actually speaking at a normal volume voice.
Yeah, and he's understandable, thankfully.
Yes, so most of this film takes place in the past compared to the present, whenever or whatever might be.
Yeah.
So we are on this weird mechanical planet that I guess it's supposed to be Earth, and something weird and suspicious is going on with a couple of metallic spheres intercoursing with one another.
Oh gosh, I forgot about that until now.
They seemingly reveal a bunch of tentacles and they connect each other's two said tentacles, and I think they're having sex with one another.
Yeah, because they're sending something between each other, and then suddenly the little one gives birth to an even bigger one somehow through the same tentacle wiring. It decides.
Why?
I mean, there's talking going on during this, but
yes.
I'm too busy being distracted by what's going on with this.
Yes, speaking of distractions, we are introduced to the first two characters, including the main character, as they talk to each other, and the film keeps cutting to that scene of metallic intercourse constantly, ever so often. It's so... Is this supposed to be a commentary about technology and the unchecked dangers of progress? Because now the machines are self-reproducing and they have substituted the human race. Is this trying to be cyberpunk? Is this trying to be Stanley Kubrick? Is this trying to be a slapstick comedy? Or rather, is it trying to be all three at once? Because I can assure you, it's trying to be.
I thought you were going to say none of it's working.
Well, that's underlined.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the first two characters of the film properly appear, and oh gosh.
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh no.
We're introduced to Philippe, I think they call him.
Philip, yes.
Yeah,
and also
Philip.
that other guy,
Yeah,
Billy Bones.
Yeah, Billy Bones, who is...
You will never get them up, Black Dog!
He's in this really weird wheelchair
His
contraption.
his arms are supposed to be at the helm of the wheelchair, but they look like they are broken. In fact, all of the characters, all of the models, all of them, they are utterly broken beyond belief. I have never seen such completely wrong and wrong-headed character design in all of my life. Not in an animated feature that was released theatrically, I remind you.
Yeah,
this is
like,
just...
even
it's scary.
even for 1982.
No, that's not an excuse. Son of the White Mare was released 2 years prior to this in Hungary.
Yes.
It looked gorgeous.
Yeah,
It was still a complete mess of a film that's almost impossible to comprehend, but it looked fine. I guess that's what I'm trying to get.
And that's what I'm saying, that the quality of this is so low compared to what was released in 1982.
It's not even that it's low, it's just that it is so baffling. It's not just bad character design, it's not just bad animation, it's something more and something less at the same time.
They did
we are failing to find the words to describe this.
It's like the entire movie was made in such a shoddy way that it becomes enlightened somehow.
Okay, so these characters, the way they move, the way they are presented, they look like as if they were having a seizure and a stroke at the same time.
Yeah.
Or maybe the animators were. I don't know.
The movie's visuals showed us what they were on. They were on shrooms, obviously.
No! Shrooms are supposed to enhance their creativity, not unlock their nega skills. When they talk, when they move, their arms and legs look broken. Their jaw is dislocated from the rest of their skull, and it goes into all directions at once. And yet, those eyes are so consistently droopy and unblinking, and they never look at each other when they are talking to each other. These characters don't look each other in the eyes, not even a single time, not even by accident. And that's just the peak of the iceberg, because then we see them walk, and we see them jump, and we see them being busy in quote-unquote action scenes.
And and all the contortions.
The contortions, the twisting, the poorly timed attempts at slapstick comedy. Oh gosh, they tried to do slapstick in this.
I should reiterate that basically there's a plot going on in this movie.
I guess there is, but we don't get to it up until we get this entire scene with Black Dog and Billy Bones.
Well,
so, if you have a passing knowledge of the original novel, this film will not help you that much.
Oh boy. Because Philip was talking to this Bones guy.
Which he knows, because,
apparently.
The protagonist of the novel knew a pirate who was frequenting his mother's locale at the time. But there is no establishing of what the relationship is. There is no contextualizing what...
We don't need to know that.
Their dynamic is. They just know each other, and that's that.
Yeah, exactly. That's all we need to know. That they know each other, and then that's that.
Also, apparently Billy Bones is a robot. And there are robots, or bio-robots, if you will, in this film, but the only way to distinguish them from the so-called human characters is a big on-the-nose R that they have plastered on their chests.
Yeah. The weird thing about this...
the weird thing about this! Okay, let me know what the weird thing is.
Okay, so... The funny thing about this whole thing is where Philip and Bones are talking to each other, it's a back and forth that feels like it doesn't lead to anywhere until he mentions a map. And then he's like, what map? I don't know any map. There's no map. No map exists.
Yes, and the best part is that apparently we are informed by Philip's voice that Billy Bones apparently up and disappeared, but the film had already cut away from that, so we did not see Billy Bones going away from Philip until we see Billy Bones alone in a completely different area, and there is no transition, there is no progressing, visual or otherwise. We are just there now.
Can we talk about the dubbing, actually, of this? Because I'm surprised this was even dubbed in English, to be honest.
I am surprised as well, given that they left the completely unprompted musical number later on in the original language of Bulgarian.
Yes, that's really weird, isn't it?
So, the voice work is Speed Racer levels.
Yeah, everyone talks really fast.
At the time of Speed Racer, episodes of an anime were made before voice actors would even record their lines, which means the original voice actors were obligated to talk really fast to match the lip syncing, the very simple lip syncing of the characters. That was made even worse by the English localization because they had to voice over an already bizarrely dubbed episode. In order to match the very fast lip syncing, they had to talk really fast. And that's exactly what happens in this film. They all talk really fast in a pointless, failing attempt to match the lip syncing, except they cannot hope to do that because there is no such a thing as a lip movement in this film. There is just a dislocated jaw that goes into every single direction as a character attempts to speak.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it, yeah.
Oh, that said, the dub is gloriously cheesy.
It is so bad, it's good.
You'll never get them up, Black Dog! Give me them up, Billy! You'll never get them up!
Oh, before they even meet, oh gosh. Poor Billy Bones gets molested by a ship himself.
Yes, that was so unnecessary.
I don't know how to describe it. It's like he's getting lifted, he's getting fondled by tentacles at one point, I swear.
He's getting squashed by heavy objects, I guess.
Yeah, and
I know Billy Bones dies in the novel, so I thought this was it. He was going to die, but no. We have about 5 minutes of a pointless back and forth between Billy Bones and Black Dog.
I like how during that whole bit where he's getting messed around by a ship at first, that you can hear his voice actor go like, no, oh.
So what, is Yano? No!
And then we get introduced to
Black Dog! Black Dog!
Yeah, and apparently they're old friends, apparently.
In the book, they were part of the same crew, the Flint the Pirate crew, that is.
Yeah.
They follow pretty much the general plot line in this film as well. There is a treasure to find, not on Treasure Island, but on Treasure Planet, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so the interaction between these two is wild, to say the least. So, all the time, and I do mean all the freaking time, Black Dog is saying, "Give me them up, Billy!" And Billy says, "You'll never get them up, Black Dog!" I feel like I've said this sentence exactly 10 times.
Yes, you have done, actually.
It's so bizarre. I insist, give me them up, or I'll give you the black spot. No, don't give me the black spot, or I'll die, because I guess it's superstition, or it means that he's going to be targeted by the other pirates and killed. It's a pirate tradition, I suppose.
Yeah.
It was in the book as well. So anyway, all right, you've convinced me, Black Dog. I'll give you the mop. All right, Billy, give me the mop. They have exactly the same voice, by the way.
Yes.
It's weird. All right, you'll get the mop right now. So as he says that, Billy takes a few steps back and then starts running in a very awkward fashion as a weird tambourine plays. And as he runs towards Black Dog says, I'm waiting for the mop, Billy. He could not understand what was happening, apparently. And then Billy just launches himself, and I do mean launches himself. He turns into a flashing neon light for a second as he morphs into a missile, I think. And then he hits some sort of random mechanism that drops a heavy object on Black Dog.
Yeah, it was like 100-ton ball weight or something, I think.
Yes, something like that. And it looked, this whole scene, this whole sequence of events, it looked painful, absolutely painful.
The way everything moved and reacted, it was like watching rubber and clay become one.
It looked like a Terry Gilliam's cut-out animation going horribly wrong, honestly. Whereas all the parts are not supposed to be where they actually are, and the characters have a weird timing to everything they do, to the point that it's unwieldy. And then they reuse the same animation immediately, and Billy hits again the mechanism, which drops a giant tuba on Black Dog, at which point Black Dog says, you know, Billy, if I didn't know you better, I think you were trying not to give me the map.
And another tuba falls on top of that tuba. He pops out of that tuba as well. And then a third one happens, and he comes out of that one as well.
And then
all 3 times he comes out of the tiniest spout, despite, his head being like 100 times larger than the spout.
This is the film attempting slapstick cartoon comedy and failing so miserably at it that it becomes brilliant, honestly. It's so bad. It's so disastrous.
I was laughing so hard because
listen.
Awful it was.
This cannot even be excused by saying it's quote-unquote Russian slapstick. But no, this cannot even be justified as being Russian slapstick, because as we know, Russian slapstick is a real, established style of physical comedy that takes everything you know about comedic timing and gags and physical comedy, turns it on its head, and everything is off. The timing is off, the setup is off, everything. This goes way beyond that, and it's just broken beyond repair.
Yeah, there's a bit of a chase, flying chase.
And then all of a sudden they are playing ropes?
Yeah, and the Black Dog changes to a plane with a gun, I think.
They waste time. They waste running time for about 5 minutes or more in a film that's only 1 hour long. So already they are struggling to pad it out. They are struggling to get to their running time of 62 minutes, which is absurd. They don't have enough material to fill an hour-long film.
I like how in all of this, Black Dog gets the last laugh on Billy Bones.
Okay, so there is this one moment in which Billy is trying to pass as a statue, which goes on for far too long. And Billy Bones doesn't know he's a statue, but then he knows he's pretending to be a statue, and after a completely idiotic back and forth, Billy Bones finds himself with the black spot in his hand. How could you do this to me, Billy? I thought we were friends. Well, not after you threw a trombone on him.
Yeah, and a 100-ton ball.
Or
on top of
whatever that was. It does not matter. I'm still your friend, Billy. I'll send flowers to your grave. And then Black Dog simply vanishes, and we cut to Philip
coming
in his
over.
really, really dumb little vehicle, hovercraft, which moves about as erratically as every single character in the film. He gets where Billy is, and Billy is going to give him the map for Treasure Planet just before he just keels over and dies.
Because, death and black spots.
The black spot. In the novel, that was left to interpretation. It could be that he died because he was so scared and superstitious of what the black spot could do to him that his heart could not take it. So it becomes a placebo effect, or a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will.
Yeah.
He was also old. So there is that.
That
Right.
too.
So the map is Philip's now.
Yes, and he decides to go off to his commander to bring it to him.
Right now, I just learned that he has a commander, which
Yes.
means he's in the military or something, and it just so happened to be Captain Smollett, also from the novel. Well, he's Commander Smollett here. And so, after he informs his commander that he found the map for Treasure Planet, we cut immediately to Commander Smollett.
Yeah, before we got to see this commander, basically Philip's little hovercraft was being chased by a spaceship with a couple of guns on it or something at the front.
Yes, I'm surprised they found him immediately, the rest of the pirates, that is. You
Yeah,
would have to assume that's them, right?
You would assume so, but to save time, the ship, Philip's hovercraft, gets to the base, and as soon as the door closes, the spaceship that was following him crashes into it and explodes.
Ah,
So, I don't know if it was them, but... So, that was... the
okay,
bit-
so back to Commander Smollett, right?
Yeah,
Commander
with-
Smollett!
Probably with the bestest, worst scene of the movie?
I mean, okay, so Commander Smollett is minding his own business in his base or spaceship or whatever, and then this guy with a stupid tucked on mask shows up and says, "Hey, I want my haircut, barber." He sounds... I don't know how to describe it. He sounds like he's trying to do a Saturday Night Live sketch. It's weird. So this guy shows up. He wants a haircut. I am trying to describe what happens here because, believe you me, it's hard.
It is very difficult
So,
to remember and to describe.
So this slim idiot with a tacked-on mask, which is obviously a pirate pretending not to be a pirate, he thinks this is a barber shop or something, to which Smollett says to him that this is not in fact a barber shop. Ah, okay, so, oh, look at this hole, it's a hole large enough to hide a map. I didn't say anything about a map! So, with the subtlety of a dancing hippopotamus, he gets very easily thwarted by Smollett, which proceeds to literally trash him, as in he ends up in a trash can or something.
It was at that point I actually thought that the second guy who came along after that was formed by the first person. That first guy basically transformed into the second guy?
No, it was a different guy who came in also nonchalantly and wanted to order a burger or something,
Yeah,
because
he
now it's a fast food apparently. I have to ask you guys, what was the plan here? You just waltz into the ship, pretending not to know it's a ship, and then what? How are you going to get information about the map if you're not supposed to give away the fact that you're looking for a map, because you're supposed to not give away that you're pirates? This is clearly supposed to pass as a comedic moment with dumb henchmen doing dumb henchman things. But again, the timing is off, the comedy is off, the voice work is off. Everything is wrong, and double wrong with a side of mayonnaise.
Oh,
It's
gosh.
so baffling.
And the next guy after that
Wait!
Yeah?
But you see, this is what
Yeah.
happens. Smollett punches the guy,
Yeah.
and when he punches him, he makes this "wing" sound effect. It sounded like a rejected soundbite from a Gene Deitch's Tom and Jerry cartoon. It was so bad that not even Gene would use it for his terrible Tom and Jerry episodes. And the guy gets thrown into a tube and outside the tube, and then he bounces off a wall and goes back where Smollett is and gets punched again in the same exact manner and goes through the same tube as before and then ends up in the trash can with the previous guy.
Yeah, I forgot about all that.
Yes,
But-
I oddly remember this. I have an oddly vivid memory of this.
I have a vivid memory of the next guy who comes along.
Oh
He is-
gosh,
he
the
is
next
the-
guy.
He's the best of the worst.
Yes, he's the best of the worst. He's a small man or robot. They are all robots, by the way. He
Yeah.
comes in pretending to be blind,
Yeah, he
Ex-
pretends to not to see anything.
except he actually sees everything and points out what he sees to Smollett like
Yeah,
the complete
because-
idiot it is.
Yeah, because he's trying to find out what the map is, and then he asks him for the time, and he goes, yeah, he brings out his watch, supposedly. But then the blind guy then points out, that's not a watch, that's something else you're holding.
It's a barometer.
Yeah, barometer, that was it. Oh, but then it's like, could you stand on that red plank over there? Okay, but it's red. I mean, no, it's green.
Yes, it's green.
Yeah.
Wow, you're bad at this. You've got to get up pretty early in the morning to fool Commander Smollett, says Commander Smollett.
uh,
He says that even though literally 2 minutes later he's reintroduced to all the same guys he just punched out of his ship as a legitimate crew for his ship.
all because the person who recommended them was just a guy who just came in out of nowhere going like, hello, I have like 15 years of experience. I would like to be your first mate.
Right, you're hired instantly. No qualifications needed. No references needed. You are my first mate, Long John Silver. Literally, Long John Silver. I must admit, when he showed up the first time, I thought to myself, is this Boyaki from Yataman? What are you doing here? Or, a more mainstream reference, Waluigi without the mustache and with a peg leg. That is how Long John Silver looks in this film.
Yeah, it's not, and we don't mean like it's a peg leg on his foot. It's like a literal peg that's a leg, as in like it's a literal, his entire leg is peg leg.
In the original book, he was a man with one leg. He did not have a peg leg or a prosthetic anything to substitute his missing leg. He just had a racket, I guess you call it, to support himself.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Silver becomes the first mate of the ship on the freaking spot, and Philip is the cabin boy.
Because
And immediately, his crew of pirate robots, which are obviously the same people that Smollett just took care of not 2 seconds ago, they become the crew of the Española, the ship in question. Oh, and then I guess the journey to Treasure Planet begins.
Yes, finally the journey to Treasure Planet begins.
I hope everybody dies. Especially that odious mechanical parrot that runs on batteries.
Oh, you got to be introduced to that parrot soon.
Yes, I mean, listen. of all the characters in this film and their erratic animations, the parrot is the most erratic of them all. His lower beak is literally going on the opposite direction as his upper beak as he speaks. It's like I'm talking like this. It's absolutely grotesque.
Oh gosh.
Even Long John Silver is annoyed by him.
Yeah. So much so he complains about who turned that parrot on.
And then the parrot answers with the best line in the entire film. Well, you don't turn me on, that's for sure. But
Got away with it.
I can't believe he made that joke. I'm the funny guy. You thought the barber guy was the comic relief, but no, it is the parrot. It is the parrot instead.
Not much really happens on the ship, does it?
No, a lot of nothing happens for several minutes. Oh, also we forgot to mention, Black Dog is also on the ship.
Yeah, Black Dog's on the ship.
That's going to be important ? For later. Speaking of later, so all of a sudden, with no explanation whatsoever, after a weird, trippy sequence of random sporadic fires, the crew of the ship, captain, cabin boy, and everyone else, are transported into the 17th century, the time of the novel, which they address in universe, which makes no sense because this is already an adaptation of the novel.
I cannot fathom why.
But here's the kicker. They are on a classic 17th century wooden ship in space without anything protecting them from the vacuum of space. They have been teleported into this bizarre scenario, and then they all get attacked by some sort of electrical energy consuming fish, and they attack the robots because they feed off of energy, I think. There is nothing in this film that gets established properly, contextualized in any way whatsoever. Basically, we only realize what happens after death happened. And somebody has to what happened with a throwaway line. It's always like that.
Okay. So several points I have to make here, because the only point that I remember hearing in this film was that they were going through an electrical storm of some description, and that was the cause of the fire thing.
And that turned the ship into a wooden ship? A
17th century ship. I mean...
And Philip lost his memories, but then regained them instantly? And he was named Jim Hawkins, like the protagonist of the novel, which this film is based on, but that is nonsensical because they are already acknowledging characters from the novel as real-life characters within the universe.
Yeah, I really don't get this bit where basically they even drop the author's name of the original book as well, I think.
Yes, they do. Captain does. Captain Smollett from the story Treasure Island.
But these creatures are just waltz into the scene. Smolder just basically tells Philip...
Smollett.
Yeah, Smollett.
You said Smolder.
Okay, sorry.
Commander Smolder, that's his name now.
Yeah, so Commander Smolder or something. We see these aliens come in, waltz into the scene, and the captain just basically says, "Ignore them, Philip." I'm like, how can you ignore them?
They're attacking the robots. The robots are our crew. Without our crew, we can't do anything. Also, as it turns out, ignore them is the mantra of Captain Smolder throughout this film. But
Yeah,
anyway,
seriously.
what's bizarre, what's even more bizarre is that not only they are on a 17th century wooden ship in outer space, they are also dressed like they are in the actual 17th century, with a hat that doesn't move along with the head, I might add.
Yeah, I swear, at one point during the scene, even the robots got, this sort of outfit, but then straight afterwards, it disappears off them.
Yes, so after this whole idiotic, confounding, stupid scene of these alien beings attacking the robots, we come back to reality. And the whole point of that scene was for Philip is back being Philip, by the way. It was Jim Hawkins for a minute. Philip saves the life of Black Dog, and Black Dog is in his stead. So that whole scene, that whole cinematic tirade was only for the purpose of Black Dog owing his life to Philip. Did we need to time travel back to the 17th century to accomplish that? Did we need for the ship to turn into a wooden ship? Did we need for everybody to change their name and drop the title of the original novel and the author of the novel? Did we need all of that? Did we need the alien fish that feast upon robotic energy? Did we seriously need all that, or were you just padding for time?
I think you know the answer.
Okay, so moving on. They eventually get to Treasure Planet. Also, Philip obviously finds out what the scheme of Long John Silver is. I want to take control of the treasure, because that will make me the master of all the universe! And I think I've earned it.
Yeah, pretty much all that. And
It's... it's a scene.
Philip, because the fact he knows this, he decides to tell Smolder about this.
Don't worry, Philip. We'll just pretend not to know what they're up to. That way we can fool them. Not 2 seconds after they land on Treasure Planet, Long John Wasilver betrays them.
I mean, what else was he gonna do when they got there?
Give me the map, Captain! The captain does not give him the map. He takes the map from the captain's pocket. So later on, he has the gall of being shocked and surprised when the map is fake. He took the map! He took the map! It was his hand that took the map! He fooled himself!
You forgot, though, for several more minutes, though, before he finds out it's a fake, the parrot takes it.
Oh, there is this all pointless chase sequence with the parrot stealing the map and making so many dumb jokes as he runs away from the chasing crew.
Yeah.
So many dumb jokes! I'm about to break the world record!
They really wanted to be Looney Tunes for a couple of minutes.
Okay, but this is what kills me, because it is such a failure in visual presentation as well as timing.
Yeah.
So the dumb barber guy gets closer to the parrot, and the parrot says, "Congratulations, you won the race," or something along those lines. So he gives him a bouquet of what I can only describe as flowers made of nuts and bolts, golden nuts and bolts, and then these flowers made of nuts and bolts inexplicably explode. But the best part is that barber guy was in the middle of a monologue dictating his winning speech, and as the flowers inexplicably explode, he keeps
still
talking,
doing a speech, right?
and the sound of the explosion only comes 5 seconds later, the actual explosion. Wow! That's bad.
quality.
What
timing.
happened? What has happened here? Did the storyboard artists not inform the animators that there was supposed to be a bomb in that bouquet? Did the sound editor not get the memo that explosions and sound of explosion go on at the same time?
Oh,
What is
God.
happening here?
Oh gosh.
Okay. I need a small break. Be right back, folks. And we are back. Well, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah, we're back in our bodies.
I do not think we can do this film justice just by talking about it. We sound like a couple of raving madmen
I thought it was the
spouting
point.
nonsense about this. I cannot believe what I'm hearing from myself as I speak these words. You would have to watch this film for yourself to believe it, but I cannot recommend you to do so, lest you lose your sanity like we have.
I know. Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So after
Okay.
all that,
Which was useless and pointless, much like most of this. Silver gets his map back, but then...
two things happened at this point. One was that he finds out the maps are fake, and he's all like, how could I have been tricked?
Again, I reiterate, you tricked yourself.
Yeah. And the second thing is, because during that whole chase sequence, Silver decided to shoot at the parrot, which basically shot at the fauna shell-like thing.
It hit something, and that something was alive. So all of a sudden, the floor is lava.
Yes, literally, all of it's lava, and suddenly lava birds everywhere.
Okay, you mean one lava bird that was awkwardly mirrored to fill out an entire shot. So we have several awkwardly mirrored models of the same bird moving at the same time to fill out a shot, and it looks atrocious.
It is absolutely.
Okay, at this point in time, I was having flashbacks to that animated adaptation of Osamu Tezuka's Phoenix, set in space, which was also being released at the same time as this film, come to think of it.
Oh, wow.
And it's also a trippy trip that's somewhat relentless. We will have to watch that at some point and maybe talk about it.
Yeah, I guess we have to. At some point.
I have it on DVD and I am relatively proud of that.
That's
Because it's pretty rare to find online otherwise.
good. Oh.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
the Firebirds are attacking the ship. They are also attacking everyone else. And did you know that robots are immune to lava? Because I sure didn't. They get swallowed up by the lava, but they are fine later on. Apparently.
Yeah.
So anyway, how do we stop the Firebird, and why, more importantly, why there is a swarm of Firebirds and lava attacking them all of a sudden? Why? It's a security measure that Flint prepared just to fight invaders. Sure, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Also, can I say that during this whole part, when Philip and Silver and everybody else were talking to each other...
You know what? Wajon sounds better.
Yeah, Wajon. Basically, while everybody was talking to each other in this entire scene, because there's fire in the area, that means we have to make everything look all wiggly and like they're made of jelly.
Yes, also, speaking of terrible animation errors, it's really bad when on the side of the screen you can see character models just dissipating into obscurity.
Yeah.
Because of this weird effect you decided to go on with. So there is that happening. Also, you know all those scenes where the ship lands on something?
Yes.
But there is no ship to be seen. Instead of the ship, you see a blurry silhouette where the ship is supposed to be. I have to wonder what happened there.
They must have forgot to put it in, so decided to hide it.
It's about as bad as somebody shaking violently the starry background to give the illusion of movement. Which happens at some point. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's obvious that they have a multiplane camera because there are several objects and backgrounds at a different distance from each other that move at a different speed from each other, and they are supposed to be at a different distance from each other. It's clear they have a multiplane camera, but either they don't know how to use it, or it is broken.
Yeah.
And again, I made my speculations about this already. I would love nothing more than to have an animator on board this podcast. An animator specifically trained on classic traditional animation that uses multiplane camera. I would love to have someone like, I don't know, Don Hertzfeld to try and help us dissect what is happening here. Because I pride myself as someone who has a somewhat passing or decent understanding of how animation works and what techniques are implemented at a given time. I have developed an eye for it, but this goes beyond anything I could hope to learn on my own. This is just wowie.
Yeah, wowies indeed, good lord.
But then, this is the best part of the entire film, because this is where it gets weird.
Really? This is where it gets weird, is it?
Yes, this is where it gets weird. Okay, so it is revealed that there is an artificial intelligence kaiju named the Nabucco dinosaur, which looks like a giant robot chicken right out of a tokusatsu show, and he's controlling the lava birds and the lava, and he's been set in place by Flint to repel invaders that would want his treasure. But then, I don't know if it's the parrot who says this, I think it is. The parrot says that in order to stop this attack, they have to control the AI, and the only way to control the AI is to sing.
Yeah.
To sing something very specific.
And John realizes it's Flint's most favorite song, an opera piece.
Yes, not just any opera piece, my friend. Giuseppe Verdi. Flint is a fan of Giuseppe Verdi, the famous composer Giuseppe Verdi. And with only that information, Philip, which luckily just so happened to be an expert in opera himself, realized that, it must be the Giuseppe Verdi's opera by the same name as the robot, the Nabucodonosor. And then everyone starts singing Giuseppe Verdi's Nabucodonosor.
Oh gosh, I just remembered they had a song much earlier, the robots in the movie.
Yes, they had a completely unprompted musical number in Bulgarian that made no sense within the context, because it had no context. It just happens, and since I don't know what they're singing about, It doesn't help. But no, you see, this time I know of what they're singing about, because it is a very famous piece that they are singing about, but I cannot believe they are singing about it in the middle of fire and brimstone and a giant robot chicken. They are singing Giuseppe Verdi, in order to quell a murderous robot chicken AI so that it would stop attacking them with firebirds and lava on a treasure planet in space.
Yeah. Yeah,
My
that just
head.
happened.
Oh, my head. Oh, my head. Why? Why is this happening? Why are we... Why is this the final boss of our podcast?
Why is this movie here? Why are we here?
Why are we fighting the final boss already? We skipped all the side quests by accident, and now we are facing the final boss, and we are awfully under-leveled and under-equipped. We cannot win!
Okay, so...
This is the final boss of the podcast! Where do we go from here?
More weirdness?
Oh,
An awful comedy?
oh gosh. Right, so they quell the Nabucco dinosaur, and immediately John and his crew take control of the bird, and they ride it. They ride it away from Captain Smolder and the map that John needs to find the treasure. The bloody idiot.
And he kidnaps Philip during the whole thing too.
I guess he does, but I don't remember when that happens exactly.
Well, he kidnapped him there and then, I think, because I remember that they were riding towards the place. While
They did not have the map, so I don't know where they were going.
Me neither. So, I mean, all I know is that they were going through a place full of hats called Boot something or other.
Boot Heel.
Yeah, Boot Hill.
I guess the joke is that they're not boots, they are hats.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there is this moment when they do a hostage exchange, the boy in exchange of the map, and all of a sudden you have Captain Smolder on a precipice, but the image is mirrored on the right side of the screen, so we have this perfectly symmetrical shot of two Smolders on two different precipices, and for a moment I thought I have lost my mind. For a moment I thought this is the worst animation error I've ever seen, but now it turns out that's actually supposed to happen? That's part of the plot?
Oh,
because
no, there's like two Smolders.
Yes, because the pirates acknowledge that there are two Smolders when there is supposed to be one. This is me coughing my lungs out, by the way.
Yeah. So long story short.
Too late.
Yeah, he basically, John goes up one side of the hill because he really wants his map.
First, he actually decides on which half of the
he
precipice he wants to go. He throws his giant coin to the side.
Yeah, he throws up his giant coin, which is the size of his palm of his hand.
Yes. Well, I guess he gets to the wrong Smolder because it is a reflection.
Yeah,
well, it doesn't work like that because the reflection still gives him a map that he holds, but then the map disappears. That's not how reflections work!
I like how the parrot just casually says as well, Like, aha, it was like a reflection. And he just stood in the right place, so the map would be reflected, and also the voice would also echo as well.
What the hell are you talking about? I was literally yelling at the screen while the parrot was quote-unquote explaining what was going on. I yelled, "What the hell are you talking about, you stupid parrot? Nothing of what you say, nothing makes any sense. You're wrong. This film is wrong. Everything is wrong. Ah!"
So yeah, after yet another hilariously bad scene like that, which is supposed
Okay.
to be genuine comedy, I guess.
Genuine comedy, you say? No! This is where the film gets weird.
We get a bookend on weirdness on this one.
Remember that psychedelic, inexplicable, incomprehensible introduction to
Yes.
this film? Now we have a reprise of that, except I have a much more vivid memory of what goes down.
Yeah.
Because it is impossible to forget.
Yes, because there's a lot of things in this with a lot of
Okay, so I guess, and mind you, I am not 100% certain, but I guess Captain Smolder and Cabin Boy get on a hovercraft and go right into the heart of the planet where the treasure is supposed to be, and they are greeted by a million weird hallucinations.
which he proceeds to say, just ignore them, Philip.
That's his mantra. Ignore everything. Ignore the giant, realistic zombie face, which is supposed to be Flint's face, that greets you. Ignore the weird, free-eyed, scary bird right out of Dakamak that's on top of the head.
Yeah.
Ignore that Medusa with severed tits that's trying to seduce you, and ignore all the subsequent naked ladies that start dancing around you and filling up the screen. Ignore all of that. That never happens.
Let's actually take his advice though and ignore every last bit of that scene.
That was almost a well-animated sequence, might I add, for this film's standards, that is, but that was almost visually appealing. All the naked ladies.
It was like looking at old abstract painting of some description. I have no idea. Anyway, we forget the scene, okay?
Okay, it never happens. Just ignore the scene, Philip.
Yes,
Ignore
yes,
this scene, Philip.
ignore
Ignore
the
this
scene,
scene, the bar.
Just ignore the scene, the Madhog.
Okay, so mercifully, we finally reach the treasure, which is this big diamond that apparently contains something or the other.
Basically, they claim it contains all the elements of the planet Earth, essentially.
Okay, this is where the film loses me.
Yeah. By the way, can I say one thing about this treasure? This treasure obviously took most of the budget of this film because it is smoothly animatedly spinning in every scene we see it in.
I mean, it's not that expensive to lock an object into an animation loop.
I mean, it's the most smoothest animation out of everything in this film.
Yikes. Yikes indeed. Long Wajon actually steals the treasure from under their noses, somehow, and then he leaves them on the planet as he steals the ship.
Yeah.
So, in a surprisingly somber moment, both Cabin Boy and Captain are left to starve to death on the planet. Also, the parrot is there, inexplicably.
Yeah, the parrot is gonna starve to death. Yay!
And the parrot is going to die out because of his batteries.
Yeah!
cabin boy gets really solemn and somber and starts to contemplate death, when all of a sudden the ship comes back, and as it turns out, Black Dog has, in this order, betrayed his captain, locked him and his crew in the brig, took control of the ship, and came back to rescue them. And this all happened off screen, of course.
Yes, all that happened off screen, and all because he wanted to repay Philip for saving his life.
So they retake the ship, but oh no, the ship is about to enter a black hole. Because of course it does.
Yes.
And at which point, Wajon frees himself, and the ship is set on fire, and literally everyone dies.
Yeah, literally everyone dies in this scene.
They are hit on the head by giant beams, or they are consumed by fire, or they get shot by lasers and they die. All except for Philip.
Yeah, and before Smolder even dies, Smolder says to Philip, "The escape pod, you must take it. Save yourself. The escape pod can only take like 400 grams or..."
450 pounds.
Yeah, 450 pounds.
400 grams? What? Are you going to save a small puppy? 450 pounds. That's the measurement they went with.
450 pounds. But the treasure is also exactly that. So you cannot take it with you. But you know...
I would have tried to do it anyway. But no, what Philip wanted to do, and apparently this has been his goal all along, I had no idea, by the way. This is where everything falls apart. I mean, more than it already has. Because now that the film is just about to end, now that we have effectively seen the climax, now the theme of the film is revealed, and it's about the environment! Again, they might have established this in the introductory monologue.
The one that was whispered and therefore was incomprehensible.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, this is the first time in this film I ever hear about any of this. Specifically, that inside the gem, the 450 pounds Flint's gem, there are means to revitalize the earth and destroy all the machines. And that was Philip's goal all along from the beginning. How? When? Why? What? So he decides to stay on the ship and put the gem, the diamond, on the capsule so that the capsule would get on Earth and literally kill everyone on it so that Mother Nature might have a second chance. Why am I supposed to care about any of this? You did not establish it. You did not have any theming or thematic exploration whatsoever. And now all of a sudden you're telling me that this was all about the environment. That Flint was an environmentalist, I guess? Your goal was to save your planet from the machines because apparently those two metallic cubes fornicating right at the beginning was supposed to be a bad thing. What is happening right now? So, the diamond gets to Earth, kills all the machines.
Yes.
And then things, or people, or more things start parachuting from outer space into the planet, and they play instruments.
Yeah, and they're playing a really awful version of Ode to Joy in the background.
Yes, they play a freaking synthetic Ode to Joy, and it sounds so bad it's almost ingenious. and then blackface stereotypes also descend upon the earth, playing instruments, and I am just shaking my head. And then, the cherry on top of this cake of nonsense,
Oh god.
Mickey
no.
Mouse! Literal Mickey Mouse!
No bootlegging of this. It's Mickey Mouse.
Freaking Mickey Mouse, deliberately stolen from Disney, just lands on the planet as well. Why? Why is there a Mickey Mouse? What is happening? Why is there a Mickey Mouse in this film? What is the instruments? What are the blackface stereotypes? What is the... I cannot.
Well, you don't have to because the movie ends shortly after.
The film just ends just as soon as Mickey Mouse lands on the film for the most ridiculous, unprompted, baffling, out-of-place cameo in the history of cinema. And again, this begs the question, why was this film dubbed in English? Because it being dubbed in English implies that it was distributed in Anglo-Saxon countries in the rest of the world. And they have Mickey Mouse in this film! They can't get away with that!
Well,
They will not get away with this! What is happening?
Apparently they did.
Apparently they did? This film is still copywritten by its original company, so they faced no repercussions. On the other hand, this is so obscure that Disney would never bother with it. But still, Mickey Mouse just making a random cameo right after the racist musicians was the cherry on top of this cake of disaster.
This movie. Oh, I swear that I was struggling to keep all my brain cells intact.
You know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to go to the page where all the people who worked on this film happen to be listed.
Right.
I'm going to read their names out loud. And I'm going to thank them. Thank them for this masterpiece, for this cinematic opus that we have been granted the honor and pleasure of seeing. So thank you all. Thank you, director Rumen Petkov. I sure grew up watching Dexter's Laboratory. Thank you, Boris Angelov and Josif Perez, for this marvelous, poignant script that you apparently wrote. Thank you to the following animators: N. Slavova, B. Kanev, A. Botusharova, V. Krastev, P. Yandov, N. Tsachev, R. Terzieva, P. Chkalev, T. Tsanev, I. Adzitonev, S. Alexieva, Yakobarelov, D. Zeliazova, D. Rakadzieva, D. Vikov. Thank you, Boris Karadinchev, for the music, the wonderful original soundtrack that makes John Williams blush. Thank you, Zeni Parpalova, for the wonderful, on-point sound effects that were not completely off at all. Thank you, Stoicho Zambazov and F. Arnodov, for your masterful camera work that I definitely noticed all throughout this film. Thank you, I. Koyumzieva and G. Mutavchev, for the backgrounds. Thank you, A. Kristofa Kirkova, for the montages. Thank you, H. Arshikova, assistant director. Editor V. Samuelov, you are the real hero of this film. No doubt, no doubt. There was nothing in this film that was well edited. Nothing at all. Thank you, production managers Yakitsov, S. Dukov, O. Filipov, H.A.L. Keranova, H.A.S. Popov, A. Radichev, V. Kanev, Iver Selinov, N. Ivanov, N. Stefanov, V. Velikov, B. Shishkov, with additional thanks to K. Cherny, V. Muravieva, T. Vasileva, M. Siavova, V. Naidenova, S. Dimitrova, E. Zyatanova, S. Kaichev, S. Todorova, S. Bakalov, F. Arnaudov, and thank you to the band Tangra, which performed the music, and thank you to Animated Cartoon Sofia, holders of the copyright of this film. All of you, thank you. Thank you very much
Yes.
for this experience.
Thank you for this wonderful thing that you brought to us. It's on the fridge.
Yes. Listen, I sincerely hope that all of these people went on to have good careers and improved in their crafts. I know for a fact that Rumen Petkov did. Again, going back to the beginning of this podcast, if we have to take one high note, one positivity from all of this experience is that no matter how bad, how terrible, grotesque, and unwieldy your first work will be, that's all that it is. It's your first work. You can only go up from there. You can learn from your mistakes, you can get better at your work, at your career, and eventually, if you work hard enough, you can achieve what Rumen Petkov was able to achieve in his life.
Yeah.
Rumen Petkov died last year, sadly. So consider this review a sort of homage, to his illustrious career in the field of animation, by ripping apart his first and only feature-length animated film. I sure hope this was worth it. I sure hope whomever listens to this podcast had fun at our expenses. That's all I can hope for at this point.
Yeah.
Because this film is everything we described it to be and more.
Yeah.
It is such an anti-artistic statement, intentional or not, that in a way it deserves respect. You know, when they talk about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, they say they acknowledge that perhaps animation can do things that live action could never hope to accomplish.
Yeah.
That's the same for this film, but on the extreme opposite end of the spectrum. No live-action film can ever hope to look as wrong as this film does. It's just impossible.
I mean, can you imagine someone trying to do a live-action version of that guy contorting himself just to try and push a switch that makes tubers fall on somebody?
It would be too expensive to pull off. It would never look right, which is to say wrong. The only live-action comparison I can find to the character models in this film are the grotesque aliens from Peter Jackson's Bad Taste.
Oh gosh.
And they were supposed to look ugly and grotesque. Actually, come to think of it, this quote-unquote art style reminds me of Italian political cartoonist Altan.
Alright.
This is very similar to his style. Altan started off as a children's book writer, but then he eventually became a political cartoonist. He drew cartoons, political cartoons. They were bad, and I personally dislike his style very much. he had very grotesque looking characters.
Yeah.
And they are almost as grotesque and unappealing, fundamentally unappealing, as the characters in this film. After I finished watching it, I stood there for a moment in silence. My mind was racing. My heart was skipping a beat. I decided, for my own sanity, to look up some of the artists I follow on Twitter because I had a desperate need to look at something appealing for a minute. Otherwise, I was going to drown in misery.
And here's me. I just basically sat there, turned my head to look at an invisible camera that was never to be there. Like, just to basically give the expression of, what did I just watch?
This is why I wanted to watch this film with you. But alas, we did not end up doing that. But this is why I wanted to do it, because this is not the kind of experience you can do on your own. Grab a friend, grab multiple friends, sit with them, and rip this film to shred. That is the only sensible recommendation I can give you.
Yeah.
Animation is hard. I understand that. I respect the work of animators. But there is a limit to everything. And this film broke me.
Oh boy, this film.
So, is there anything you would like to add before we wrap this podcast up?
Just ignore it, Madhog.
Okay, done. All right. So, thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been Madhog Die Master.
And I've been Devar Akron.
You can follow us on Twitter at Adriano Bordoni1 and
At Devar Akron.
Delayed Reaction, as always.
Yes.
Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Madhog Die Master. Click on the notification bell and all of that. Also, Devar has a YouTube channel as well. Would you like to plug it?
Yes, it's basically the fellow Bravers Productions thing. I need to get back to it at some point.
Right.
Yes.
And you can choose to donate on my Patreon at patreon.com/Madhog, where all the audio versions of this show will be posted.
Yeah.
And I guess that's about it for the plugging.
Yeah,
Next time, I have just decided we're going to review Disney's Treasure Planet.
That sounds good.
I mean, why not, I suppose.
Yeah, why not? I'm drained from this, to say
yes, I guess we need to be brought up again before we fall down and we hurt.
Yeah.
Because life is suffering.
Black dog! Good night, everybody.
Good night and take care, everybody.